Well, as we're moving into this spring weather, you might be thinking, hey, it's time to get outside and do some work with that lawn. But hold up, you don't want to start too soon or do too much. And here to tell us a little bit about maybe that too much side of things, we have Heather Seitz again with us who is a stormwater engineer with the city of Greeley. Great to have you again, Heather.
Thanks so much.
All right, so last month we met and we were talking a little bit about pets and picking up after them to try to protect our yards and our lawns, as well as our shoes and our water sources. And this time we're in a little bit of a different location. We're here at Boomerang Links in Greeley, and we're actually talking about pesticides and fertilizer. And what a great place to talk about that, because if anybody knows about keeping things green and beautiful looking, it would be Boomerang Links.
Absolutely. We actually were just chatting with Tim Miller, who runs the place, and we were talking about what they do to keep their grass green. Obviously, you know that when you come out here, you're going to have green grass. It looks great all year. They have very few weeds, but they've also been on a kick to try to conserve some water. So that actually does two things. When they start to change how much water they're using, they look at how much fertilizer they're using. And this also saves them some money. So this is some of the things that we would like to remind our homeowners about. And the biggest thing that we are talking about today is we want to encourage the homeowners to think pink.
Okay, so you've got a great prop, yes.
Visual here. And pink is the P.I.N.K for phosphorus, nitrogen, and potassium.
Yeah,
For those who didn't take chemistry, potassium is symbolized on the chemical periodical chart by K. So again, we're reminding folks to look at those fertilizers that they purchase. We would encourage them to buy phosphate-free fertilizers if at all possible. If you go into any of your hardware stores, your big box, Home Depot, Lowe's type of folks, they can help you out and ask for those. The one thing that this does is if anything runs off of their lawn, if we have a great rainstorm, it doesn't wash off the chemicals nearly as much, and that helps our waterways, as we talked about last time with the rivers. We want to try to keep those chemicals out of the rivers as much as possible. We actually have about 300 miles of stream here in the state of Colorado that are impaired by chemical issues, and the main source of this is fertilizers and pesticides.
Now, when you say impaired, I'm assuming that means it's just kind of affecting the fish and the flora and things that are along the riverbanks.
Absolutely. As we know, the phosphorus and nitrogen that runs off encourages things like algal blooms, and that is very detrimental to fish. They really, that sucks up all of the oxygen which they need to live in the rivers and streams.
Now, as you mentioned before, we were talking with Tim Miller about what they do here, which is a great resource in a way for us to find out what we might want to do with our lawns. One of the things he pointed out to you and I was, hey, hang out, but don't get too crazy until May or so. You don't want things growing too fast, because we could still get snow up into May and June here in Colorado.
Absolutely. And one of the things that he pointed out is products like Revive are great for getting that green grass right at the beginning of the summer. But you can do that now because it's not a fertilizer.
Okay.
And it's actually helped along by the spring snows and rains that we have. That actually helps that soak into the grass and help make your grass a little bit stronger and also a little less dependent on water later in the summer.
Okay.
The fertilizers, as he pointed out, we want to wait until the end of May, Memorial Day type weekend, and that's the best time to go ahead and put those fertilizers on. If you do put the fertilizers on earlier, it actually depletes the resources of the grass, and you'll find yourself reapplying fertilizer and watering more and more throughout the summer to try to keep that grass strong and green.
Right, which comes down to dollars. There's that money portion of it that we're always all thinking about. So some great tips there. I know you've got more information out there for folks that they can find online, and of course they can always contact you. And then there's also the extension office. They've got lots of tips as well. So check out the backs of those bags. Try to find that phosphate free if you can, and keep your quantity that you're putting onto your yards a little, under control. Don't overdo it, because it'll save you money in the end. Well, thank you, Heather, for being with us here on Inside Greeley and for all of those great tips.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, so make sure that you're heading to the website, greeleygov.com/stormwater for more information, and take care of those lawns. And don't forget P.N.K. Remember to think pink.